Match day one of the new season, Everton are playing against Crystal Palace. And this is my first match preview of the new season. Everton kick off the new season with a home match against Crystal Palace. And I think this is a very good fixture on paper for Everton to start the new campaign. Let's look where Crystal Palace are at right now. First of all, Crystal Palace, very respectable, very good side. They have probably had one of the best times as a club in these last two seasons. So Crystal Palace fans overall must be very happy. And playing Crystal Palace at this time is always a tricky thing. A very solid Premier League team, like I said, like last season they went unbeaten for 18 or 19 games. It's never an easy side that you have if you have to beat them. Not an easy game at all. But ironically, Everton are one of the teams that Crystal Palace struggle the most against, especially away from home. I don't know how many games in a row they haven't won here. So on paper, it's a team that Everton have actually done well against. And then also Crystal Palace is a team that is still trying to find its completely new identity. Right? They're probably one of the best coaches in their history, and Oliver Glasner left the club, ended up signing with Nottingham Forest due to being unhappy with the transfer funds available at Crystal Palace. So they have a new coach, but I think they hired a good one. They hired Pierre Sage from RC Lens from the Ligue 1, who was kind of the man behind RC Lens' success. He won the Coupe de France with RC Lens, and he also had them finish in the Champions League. He's a very promising international coach. And I think he's a good fit with Crystal Palace because he plays the same formation that Crystal Palace has been known for recently. He plays that, whatever you want to call it, 3-4-3. So they play famously with three center backs and wing backs, which Everton fans should be aware now because we're interested in one of their wing backs in Munoz. So Crystal Palace have a new coach. And also, another reason why I think it's a good home game to start against Palace. Crystal Palace have had many players at the World Cup, so they're a team that is not yet at full strength. Also, let's look at their transfer business. They have lost only one, I think, extremely important player to them. That was Maxence Lacroix, who went to Chelsea. So they have lost one of their key center backs, but they have also got some good incomings because they have replaced Lacroix with Convo, a young center back from the French league. They have brought in Anan Khalili, a right back or right wing back. They have brought in Oscar Mingueza from, I think, Celta Vigo, another fullback. They have brought in Javier Gozo from the MLS, Takehiro Tomiyasu as a free agent, and they have brought in Dwight McNeil through the swap deal that saw Everton get Brennan Johnson. I think kind of similar recruitment to Everton. Not too many noticeable losses except for Lacroix. In Everton's case, Idrissa Gana Gueye. And they have strengthened, but they have strengthened, I would say, moderately. They've brought in young talent, players that can make Palace better long term, but they haven't got too many, let's say, statement signings that are immediately about to light up the league, I believe. Yeah. And then preseason, Crystal Palace have had also a mixed bag, more or less the same as Everton. Some wins, some losses. They finished the preseason with a 3-0 loss to Freiburg, which wasn't a very convincing game from Palace at all. And yeah, that was the last game they played. So again, to play against a team that had that type of preseason is, I think, a good thing for Everton. So let's sum up. I think it's overall a good time to play Palace. Palace in transition, new coach, team not at full strength, some of their key players still not fully fit yet, and also some injuries. Then let's look at the projected lineup for Crystal Palace in this game. I think in goal we can expect Benitez because Henderson picked up an injury. Then we can expect three center backs of Riyad, Richards, and Convo. We can expect Tyreek Mitchell on the left, and I think probably Mingueza on the right, or Munoz if they decide to play him, even though they want to sell him. Then we can expect the very tricky midfield of Adam Walton and Daichi Kamada. And then the attackers will be probably Ismail Assar, Evan Gesson, or Dwight McNeil. And up front, probably Strand Larsen, because Mateta is not yet, I think, fully fit. But probably will be a sub if Crystal Palace need to bring on a striker. I think the obvious danger man from this Crystal Palace side are the players we need to control in order to win this game. The player we need to keep in check are Ismail Assar and Adam Wharton, or let's say Wharton and Kamada. I think if Kamada and Wharton have their day, if they have too much joy in the midfield, you're always up against it against Palace. So we need to win the midfield battle, or at least contain Adam Wharton and Kamada. And I believe that means we can't sit too deep and let Palace just have the ball. We need to be rigid in midfield and put pressure on them from the start. So then on the other end, what can Everton do to exploit Crystal Palace? I think what is always interesting against Crystal Palace is that they play the 3-4-3 formation or whatever you want to call it. So Everton, I think, in that formation, they have only two out and out wide players. I think they have only the wing backs who are really always stay out wide. The rest of the players for Palace always also you see them a lot of having a lot of actions inside the pitch. So I think Everton need to put pressure on their wing backs, especially Mingueza if he plays, because he is new to the league, new team. If he's up against Tyreek George or Njai, I expect them to test him several times. So we need a good distribution of the ball to our wide players. If they can beat their man, there should be lots of space in behind. And also then that means their three center backs need to move outside to cover for their wing backs. Again, you would like to play against such a team when they're not yet fully in rhythm, and that is not the case with Palace. So if I think Everton can get in behind, there should be some space which Everton should be able to exploit. So again, another reason to not sit too deep. What do I expect from Everton? I expect Everton to play bravely, and take the initiative. This is a home game against a side that is a good side, but is a side that is not yet at full strength, and that is a side that Everton should try to get the better of this season. If Everton are serious and want to finish in Europe, then Crystal Palace is a side at home that you should have the ambition to win, and I want Everton to start the game like that. Play on the front foot, use the joy of the new season, use the energy in the stadium, which I'm sure will be great to your advantage, and put Palace on the back foot. Maybe get an early goal and feel good about yourselves. And then that is what I expect. Play brave and take the initiative, and that starts with a positive lineup. So here's what I hope Everton will line up, what the lineup is going to look like. On goal, I expect Pickford. Then I expect the back four of Mikolenko left, Branthwaite, Tarkowski, and I expect as the right back Merlin Rö, or at least I want to see that in a home game against Crystal Palace, not O'Brien. Then I expect the same midfield three that started the last two preseason games, in Hayden Hackney as the deepest, Armstrong, and then Keenan Dewsbury Hall as the most advanced midfielder. And then it's a toss up on the wings, but I expect Njai to start on the right and George to start on the left and Tiano Barry to lead the line up front. That lineup, I would personally be very happy about that. And that could be also a good test for that midfield. To come up against Wharton and Kamada, yeah, you play against one of the best midfields on the ball. If this midfield is a serious midfield that's ready to make an impact, I think that will be a very good test for them. If they can still ooze the same level of control and composure on the ball against such a talented midfield like the one from Crystal Palace. And then let's say what I think maybe overall it's the first game of the season. I think what will be a key going forward for Everton overall for the season is, compared to 2 seasons ago, what Everton improved on last season is how the team responds to going down conceding a goal. Under Deitch, once we conceded, the game was almost over. But last season, Everton was able to respond to going down quite well, rescued a lot of points from losing positions, like for example the home game against Palace, which we turned around. But the next step in our progression has to be how Everton responds to going up ahead. And I could see that Everton take the lead against Crystal Palace, and then it is up for Everton how to respond to that. I want to see progression in that. Everton will not only then start to fall back with each minute, sit deeper and deeper, and just try to see out games, but I want Everton to continue to mix it up, also put mix in phases of pressure. Because I think what you don't want to do against Crystal Palace is to let them get too comfortable on the ball. Walton and Kamada, they can seriously thread the ball through, even if you sit deeply. So I want Everton to continue playing also with pressure, mix it up defensively, play also sometimes a high line, press from the front. Don't just sit back. And that goes for Palace, but that goes for the whole season. Okay, and then my final point, I take something from Angus Kinnear's interview during the week, which I thought was pretty interesting. He said his team analyzes the season through bundles of matches, not each game individually. They always take 4 matches as a bundle. So let me do that. I think the first bundle of matches and will be Crystal Palace, Bournemouth away, United at home, and then Spurs away. I will follow that structure. I will analyze Everton's season through 4 game bundles. And I did the math. If Everton want to finish in the European spots, I think they will need around 56 points. So, in order to achieve that, they will need an average of about 6 points from these 4 match bundles. And is that possible from the first bundle? It is not an easy set of games, but I think to achieve 6 points from that is certainly possible. And I think to start off with Palace at home, that would set the tone. They should beat, they should look to beat Crystal Palace, even though that's a team that is pretty hard to beat. They draw a lot. They're not easy to beat, but Everton should have the aim to beat Crystal Palace, this version of Crystal Palace, at home. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think are Everton keys to success. Let me know your projected starting lineup and give me your scoring prediction. I believe Everton are going to win this game 2-1. And I have no clue who's going to score the goals, but I feel positive for once. I think Everton have a good chance of winning this game. 2-1 is my scoring prediction. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great weekend. And let's catch up after the Crystal Palace game for my match review. Otherwise, see you later. Adios.